All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Digital Contractor Podcast. I'm Brian Hess, president of Lead Revenue, here with my co-pilot and business partner, Brett Sutherland. Welcome back, Brett.
Hey, Brian. Good to be here.
So we are excited today, guys. We've got a new product alert to provide you guys here. So we've got a new product at Lead Revenue. I think it's one that is absolutely imperative to the contractor space. I'm going to let Brett dig into that, but to give you guys a little bit of a high-level view of it, it is called Live Connect, and the idea behind Live Connect is to be able to get you in contact with the leads that come through your website or come through other sources as quickly as possible. And we have found that to be a pretty big challenge in the contractor space, not just connecting with them quickly, but connecting with them at all. And so we're going to provide you guys not with just the product announcement, but with some of the data and research that we've been able to do as a company that hopefully will be eye-opening to contractors out there, especially owners and leaders within the contractor space, on some of what we see as the biggest opportunity for lost revenue in the contractor space. So, Brett, what have you seen? What kind of made you come up with this whole idea of Live Connect, the product? You can explain it and then give everybody the idea behind how you came up with the idea for the product in the first place.
So we had this product in our auto business, Fusion Zone. Phones have been a major problem for contractors. That's been the biggest eye-opening experience that I've seen, making the jump from automotive to the contractor. Simply aren't getting in. There are more missed opportunities. I was just on the phone with a company out of Massachusetts this morning. 176 phone calls in the last 30 days, 31 of them were answered. We did a case study at Lead Revenue where we studied 50 contractors, smaller contractors. 47% of calls were missed. So that is the number one problem that I see that's hurting your revenue as a contractor. In automotive, we had a product called Fast Ring. And what Fast Ring did is when the lead came in, it would automatically ring the dealership's BDC or sales team. The person would pick the phone up and they would hear, "You have a new lead. Customer's name's Brett Sutherland. Looking for a 2020 Nissan Maxima. Press 1 to connect." As soon as I have that information and I hit press number 1, I'm instantly ringing the customer. So I can get in touch with that customer in a matter of seconds as opposed to hours. And I can catch that customer when they're in the process of wanting to speak to someone or they're in the buying process. It doesn't matter if it's a home builder, someone selling cars, someone selling asphalt. It's all the same. In the auto world, we found that to connect with that customer in 60 seconds or less, as opposed to 30 minutes or more, the closing percentage increased 300%. And the reason why is you're in the moment. You're online looking for cars. You're online looking to have your parking lot repaved, your commercial space repaved. And if you don't catch that customer when they're in the moment, they've left. They're not in front of the computer. They're in a store. They're picking their kids up on the carpool line. So by being able to connect your business with the customer that just submitted the lead, you should expect a 300% increase in closing rates. That's exactly what Live Connect is going to instantly bring your phone or your call center or your BDC or your sales team, give them the pertinent information, allow them to be connected to the customer while they're still browsing online. You should see a huge increase in closing percentage with this one tool.
Yeah, and you and I have talked about this a million times, and I think that it is literally an epidemic in the contractor space of, communication is an issue. Like I always say this, when I came into the industry, I didn't know a whole lot about the industry. And so for the first year that I was in the business, I actually just asked customers what their biggest problems were. And communication was number one on the list. It was, they don't answer the phone. They don't call me back. They don't do what they say they're going to do. It's not, the communication isn't clear. And I think that starts in a big way. It starts with how their first interaction is with a contractor, right? Like first impressions are everything. And, we have the data that shows how bad this problem is in the contractor space, right? And so when you start digging into that data, what do you find that's most alarming about the pile of data that we've collected when it comes to not just not connecting within 60 seconds, but not connecting at all?
Yeah, it's the biggest problem that's hurting your business. How can you drive revenue if you're not there to answer the phone? Recently, I was calling looking to have my garage redone in Park City, and the first two people I called, I went to Google, I typed in, garage organization. Google Maps pops up with 4 listings. I call the first 2, no one answers. The third one got my business. Had the first one answered, they would have gotten my business. And that was a $20,000 project. Why answering the phone is costing you revenue. And Brian, that $20,000 that I just spent on the garage, what would that contractor have made in that? A lot, probably.
Yeah. It's 25 to 30 something percent margin. In that case, it's probably it just depends on what size the job is. But in that case, that person's probably making more than 30%, right? And so when you think about that, and I was just telling you, before we jumped on here, just some of the results that we've had at the Pavement Group this year. And, from a revenue growth standpoint, it's incredible, right? And last year when we started, gaining major traction in the digital side of things, that was the first thing that we did, was making sure that the phone gets answered all the time, right? And so when it overwhelmed our staff, we used the phone service that we provide at Lead Revenue. So 24/7, somebody's getting their phone call answered within a ring or two, and they're getting answers to their questions. Now, if we don't connect with them with a member of our staff, somebody is answering the phone, taking the message, and we're getting back to them quickly. We get an email notification. It enables us to be able to communicate quickly. And I told you this before we had Live Connect, but Eli and I figured out the faster that we get back to that person, the higher the close rate goes. And we have the statistics to prove it, right? And so as you start to take care of those leads that come into your business, the investment into digital marketing, the investment into generating more activity for your business, the ROI multiplies by an immeasurable number. Like, I can't even tell you what the result of that is for us, just by doing the simplest of things. And I think that many times in the contractor space, yesterday on our TCS Inner Circle call, I made the point to say to everyone, like, don't overcomplicate it. Do the basics correctly, right? Make sure you're answering the phone. Make sure that you're getting people proposals quickly. Make sure that you're communicating effectively. And the rest of it really, guys, takes care of itself, right? It is not a difficult thing. And so this product, I want to dig into a little bit more detail on exactly how it works. So from the time that the lead comes in, can you walk us through that process to exactly how the contractor would receive the notification?
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about it in 2 buckets. One is third-party leads. One is your website leads. Third-party lead would be like Google My Business, Home Advisor, etc. We give you a lead routing address where you put, hey, I want leads emailed to this address. That spurs our system to work. So in your Home Advisor portal, you would log in the lead address we give you. Phone, when that lead comes in through Home Advisor, or the same one on your website, when that lead comes in, we are going to transcribe that lead. It's going to say, my name is Brett Sutherland. I'm interested in having my parking lot repaved. Here's my number. And literally, once that is complete, we're going to ring the phone number that we have on file. So this is all happening in a matter of seconds. When you answer the phone, you're going to hear your phone ringing. You're at the company. You're going to hear your phone ringing. You're going to hear, we have a new lead from your website, customer's name, customer's phone, customer's interested in my commercial parking lot being repaved. Press 1 to connect. As soon as you press 1, it makes the outbound call to the customer, who 9 times out of 10 will still be browsing on your website. As I said, a game changer. That is how we deal with, inbound leads, ensuring that they're called back instantaneously. So that is one way that we've seen you can really, really move the needle. You should be able to see a 300% increase in your close rates if you're responding to the people in a matter of seconds. Wait longer than that, the customer's no longer engaged. The phone answering system is for inbound calls that I mentioned earlier. Did a case study, 50 contractors, 47% of inbound calls missed. I would go as far, Brian, and you can tell me what your thoughts are here, to say anyone who jumps into these two systems should be able to double their revenue year over year.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my own experience. I mean, we are, year to date through 6 months of the year, we are up over 300% over last year. And it is being focused on the basics of driving more activity and then being able to triage effectively the activity that's coming to you, right? So being able to communicate right away, making sure the phone gets answered, and making sure that those people are getting properly communicated with. One thing that I want to point out to people in the contractor space is, people don't expect you to be perfect. So they don't expect you to be out there to pave their parking lot within 48 hours. But they do expect in every type of business, they expect to be responded to and answered. And so Brett's example of his garage is a perfect example. When people are calling to want something done, and I want you guys to really listen to this. When somebody wants something done, Brett, were you super excited to go shop for garage people?
No, literally, I just put it in Google. I knew that I needed it more organized, put it in Google. I started with the first result on Maps and ended with the third that actually answered the phone. The first guy missed the business. There's no question.
And my point is, you're never excited to do, a project around your house. You're not super excited to get your driveway seal coated or paved or your parking lot, because it's a task oriented thing, right? So the more that we can take the pain away from the customer, more that we can simplify that by doing the basic things like making sure we get to them in that moment when they're looking, the easier it's going to be to close those deals. That's the reason why it multiplies your close rate by 300%, because Brett didn't want to talk to 5 different garage people. Most people don't, right? There's going to be customers that are looking for multiple contractors no matter what, but there's a larger percentage than anybody thinks that is just looking for the right solution. And if they feel like the price is fair, they had a good experience with the person, they're communicating well, and they have a level of trust, they're going to sign that contract without looking at anywhere else, because everybody's going to be charging around the same amount of money. Everything's going to be relative. And these are the statistics that matter to grow your business. If it is difficult for a customer to get a hold of you, to talk to someone, the whole front end process of you getting in contact with the customer, if that is challenging to them, they're going to move on to somebody else. And the reason for that is, guys, listen up. How hard was it, Brett, to go to number 2? Pretty easy, right? You go right to the next one on the list, click the button, and you call the number. It's an extra 30 seconds to ring the phone. So nobody is going to chase you to give you their business. That's just how it is. So if you make it easy, if you get to them in the moment, remember, when somebody is looking for their garage to be done, their emotional attachment to getting that done is pretty high. If you can catch them in that moment, they're going to convert into a customer at a much higher rate. And that is exactly what Live Connect is designed to do. It's what the phone answering service that we offer is designed to do, to simplify that entire front end process, right? It's so basic, but it is so missed in our industry. It is literally probably the number one thing that's holding people back from growing their revenue as a contractor. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. And we have the solution. We have the solution for inbound opportunities, which are people calling you direct. We have that, which, Brian, you've seen the results of, or speak for themselves. Yep. And now we have the solution for outbound calls. Brian, we're going to hook this up in the pavement group. Would love to get feedback next week on what your experience has been. We can measure the results, but I can tell you, you're going to close more business and win more sales by getting in touch with that customer instantaneously than you would waiting 30 minutes or 3 days. No question about it. If you utilize these two systems, your revenue will grow. There is so much leakage in the contracting space when it comes to phones. No question about it. It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, no question, man. No question. And so that was one of the things when I became a lead revenue customer. before I was ever part of Lead Revenue, that really attracted me to the company was there was solutions in place for every single issue that I saw in our space, right? Whether it was phone answering, having live chat on the websites, the solutions that we offer really solve the biggest problems that contractors have. And this one is just a cherry on top to solving the problem of, phone calls and getting back to people quickly. It really simplifies that whole process. And again, guys, even if you can't get to 100% of those calls that are coming to you and connect with people immediately, if you get to 50% of them, 60% of them, 30% of them, you're going to see an increase in that percentage of whatever you can get to. So don't think it's an all or nothing thing. If you can improve in this area of your business, the investment to do it will be minimal. So if this is something that anybody out there is interested in or having challenges with as far as phone answering, or you want to get in contact with those leads a lot faster, just hit us up on any of our social channels. Go to leadrevenue.com, reach out to Brett or I, and we will get you set up with a demo of this, and we can explain it in a little bit more detail. And that's it. I don't think it's any more complicated than that. You agree?
I love it. If you're interested, Brett at leadrevenue.com, I'll get right back to you and, explain to you what this looks like and what ROI you should expect. It's going to be the hundreds of percentages increases in revenue at bottom line.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Digital Contractor Podcast. We got some great stuff coming your way. Some more. We've got some guests that are coming on here in the next few weeks. So we have a lot of information coming to you. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it out with somebody. Tag one of your friends that's a contractor that's not answering his phone, and we'll be happy to help them anytime. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next week with another episode of the Digital Contractor Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.